What's going on? What's going on, chat? How you guys doing? I think that's better like this. I hope everybody's fine. How's your weekend? And hope you guys had a great weekend. You did some things that you like, that you live your life. You did some activities and you enjoyed your life as you should. So, lovely Monday. I don't know if it's lovely for you, but for me, it is. Thank God for that. So now, for me, I might say, okay, that it's a lovely Monday for me. But for some people, they can see this, the fact that I'm having a good day, and that could be somewhat give them room or make them feel that, hey, I shouldn't be this. He shouldn't be this happy, or he shouldn't be like this. I need to find a way to make his life or to make his day more miserable. So this bring me basically to the topic, the man of the hour, Richard, who suggested this topic. So Richard, he was I don't know his full story, but one thing is for sure is that Richard was going through a situation with well, I would assume with his ex. And but one reason, Richard wanted to understand the invisible energies that try to make us mad and give off negative energy. So in a sense, energies that try to ruin our mood or make our lives much more difficult. So he suggested this topic. And I was like, let's go for it. Let's go for it. I mean, if you have any topic, the moment that you step in, you can let it be known in the comment section or the live chat. And let's get this started. So the moment that you step in, sub up, like up, I'd appreciate it. And again, I'm having a good day. So for some reason, some people, it could be family, it could be friends. It wasn't okay, but tell me who it was. Richard. Richard is in the chat. So it could mean that someone, something, some energy is trying to ruin it. Kendrick Lamar had a good song which is called Don't Kill My Vibe, meaning that there are a lot of different energies, different entities that the moment that you're having a good time, the moment that you are happy with yourself or happy within yourself or somewhat positive, and they are trying to do their best to take that away. Because let's face it, as much as some of us are positively inclined, that we have some might say that we are more optimistic, and the other side there's pessimistic. And the fact of the matter is, we live in a world of negativity. Negativity gets more attention. Oh, it's just one. Okay, cool. Negativity gets more attention because for some reason we want to know what's happening, right? Because if it's positive, for some reason we don't want to pay attention to it. It's not so enticing. But let's get right into the first.
Just because somebody talks to you and smiles in your face doesn't mean the energy is right. Yeah, but exactly already with this word, when I say energy, yeah, it's sometimes strange to people. They say, "Oh, it's esoteric." So what do you mean by energy? But people can laugh in your face, but you feel is not real. People can just sit there and you can feel their suffering. People can sit there and pretend to smile, but you can feel they're angry. This is what I, in a simple way, say. Beyond what we see, obviously, there is another area that gives you more and more real, actually, information than the obvious what you think you see. What energy?
All right, we're gonna continue with this, but the moment that you step in, like up, sub up. So ideally, invisible energy influence emotion and behavior and is often rooted in spirituality. We're gonna cover spirituality. I think we don't really need to go too much into it, but metaphysics, something we could go into, and the other one is psychological framework. While a lot of these things are not scientifically proven because scientific means that it's more physical in the physical realm. But at the same time, scientific one also discovered there are more than 3 dimensions or even 4 dimensions. There are more. We're gonna cover that in the later down. So we know many cultures and belief system describe unseen forces such as negative energy, psychic energy, and emotional vampire. And that could affect the state, your normal state. That could affect your energy. That could perhaps take you off your flow, take you off the path that you are in, and which automatically cause chaos in you or negative energy and total. So we know already that a negative energy is a feeling or a state of being emotionally drained. Have you ever dealt with somebody that for some reason your intentions are good? You know, it's Richard described it as a dude. And for some reason, let's say for example, this friend you happen to you probably work together, and that friend knows what you go through, whether at home or in the outside of work. That friend knows exactly what's going on with you. But for some reason, this friend happened to be very pessimistic about whatever you say. Or you might say, I have a goal. You have a goal that you want to be financially free, that you want to have a better job, that you can gain more income. But for some reason, this friend happens to be pessimistic, just thinking, just talking down on your goal, or just thinking that, oh, you're not capable of doing that. This is not you. This is not something that you could do, because all the cards are stacked against you. It's not something that is, not basically, instead of feeding into your goal, but they try to deflate you, try to bring you down, and basically be realistic in a way. But sometimes, and we're gonna talk about also again the different dimensions. Sometimes there's also a dimension that is being more like, that says you have to be more open, be more creative, and be more hopeful, to push positive, or to push a certain type of energy out there in order to get one in return. But these people, they are just basically talking down on your dreams, on your goals. And the one thing we all have to understand as well, one thing that you all have to know, is that everybody is motivated by self-interest. I mean, we might say that for some reason a person is more, that person is for you. Okay, hold up. I think, yeah. Tell me if the stream lags, Richard, or anybody on the stream. Let me know if it's lagging. It shouldn't be, but I guess this is the way things are sometimes. So now, the fact of the matter is, wait, hold on. Okay. So it could mean, again, this person is your best friend. No, first thing I wanted to say is that people are cynicism, or basically they are looking for their self-interest. It's lagging just now. Yeah, that's what I would notice. It's lagging. I can have it also. But I'm gonna keep going, and then it should catch up. I don't know. Anyway. So people are driven by self-interest. As much as you might think that people are for you, or want to be with you, or doing things in terms, this is ridiculous. It shouldn't be lagging, but I don't get it. Yeah. Okay. As much as you might think that people are with you, I'm not saying they are not with you, but the thing, when truth, or during hard times, that's when you can really tell who's actually with you. Meaning that it doesn't mean that the person is not with you throughout, but the fact of the matter is, people are self-interest driven. So people are entitled to doubt you, or they're gonna doubt you, they're gonna be skeptic about you, they're gonna be pessimistic about you. These are all negative energy that really take you out your path. Because again, when you have a goal, you have potential. All of us have potential, and that is a goal that is, that is something that all of us, that gives us fuel for another day. That gave us something to keep on in our mind, to keep striving for. But again, criticism could be good, but too much of it is basically an impression, an expression of disapproval of someone or something, and to make you basically make a mistake, to cause you to go to look, to waste time, to look inside yourself, to look for fault, while sometimes you don't have no fault. Sometimes you might be, for example, you're not looking for, yeah, your fault is not something that that's actually gonna take you off your path of your goal or whatever you are into. So you have to be consciously being aware of these things, how people are speaking into you. It could be, we can plainly make it positive or negative, but again, people use different tools and their arsenal to basically take you off your path. So we're gonna keep moving with this.
Is behind there. You refine the body, automatically you are refining the mind. Yeah. And this is where nowadays I think it's such a great help actually, that it just looks like a martial art. It just looks like you do sport. Yeah, but with the right mindset, in the combination of what you are doing and what mindset you have, is a very, very powerful tool to combine two things, body and mind.
In the same practice.
In the same practice, body and mind. Yes.
I think for me, what really stuck with me was the very
Just
beginning.
because somebody talks to you and smiles in your face doesn't mean the energy is right.
Yeah, this is the most important part. Just because somebody is smiling with you or being nice to your face doesn't mean that the energy is right. This is very much true. Because again, people are pretentious. It could mean that, again, self-interest. Self-interest says they can be trying to get over you, or trying to get one over you, or wanting something that you already have. Because a lot of the time, we think a lot of the time people are around us, or come to us or friendly with us because for maybe we think we look good, or maybe whatever that we assume that is causing them to be attractive to us. But again, this attraction, whether they mention it or not, doesn't mean that it's simply the thing that they are after. Because again, people tend to be they have hidden agenda. So, and another thing I want to mention, because the negative energies that people bring, I already mentioned pessimism, and people being skeptic or doubtful about whatever you say, or certain things that you say, that you, let's say a goal it could be that you are after, and people are just showing doubt in you. And criticism, people are people who are highly critic, a big critic of whatever that you want to do. You might not really pay attention to it and think of it as too much, or as something that is really draining your energy. But at the end of the day, you have to really ask, are these people trying to being a critic to try to help you more formulate or fine-tune whatever goal that you have, or are they trying to really take it apart piece by piece? And that brings me to the next step, which is hyper intensity people, because there are people who are basically have high intensity of different emotions. Positive, they are very much highly positive, and negative, they are very intense emotion, very intense negative emotions. And these emotions goes in great depth. A lot of the time, these people can be, very much trying to, how should I say? They are, let's say, for example, someone that is experiencing a lot of intense negative emotion. A lot of the time, you might think, okay, you're trying to find ways to help them to, feel better. And you might think, okay, you are doing a good thing. But some of these people are not looking for a solution. They're not looking to feel better. They're looking for the attention that they get from playing that role. And another thing also, the positive one is, is good. But again, you have to realize a lot of the time, not everything that is good for you. Because, we only have a limited amount of time in this world. And all of us have our identical or unique path that we are on. So it is more better or more efficient and be more effective to focus on to do the things that push you towards your direction. And it could mean that you're doing something that is positive, but is not pushing you towards the direction that you want to go to. This is something that is basically a negative energy as well, because all things can be good. I'm just giving an example. All things can be good, but not all things are good for you. This is one thing that you have to, really put in your mind, because that helps you to say no even to a good thing, because it's not a good thing or the right thing for you. So negative energy can lead to exhaustion. And when you are exhausted, as you can imagine, you become totally stable or unstable, or rather, you become more of a person who, you don't have the energy to basically carry out your purpose or your goal that you actually set out for. So a lot of these invisible energies shows up from and different psychological lens, such as stress. People can cause you to be stressful or feeling stress, anxiety, negative thoughts, and unresolved trauma, and basically which create more external negative energies which overwhelm you. And this overwhelming energy cause you to be stagnant. And as you can imagine, when you become stagnant, then for sure, the things that you want to do, the things that your dreams, your goals, your imagination, all of that become, not getting any result out of them. So it's like people being in control of you without you even knowing. And this control is basically is towards your detriment, not towards your elevation. So you really have to really pay attention to these things. These can be very subtle cues. And again, some people can start in the positive. Some people can come positively and then turn into negative. They can start in a good tone, just like he just said. They start by smiling with you or trying to seem as they are friendly to you. But this is all a trick to get you to lower your guards. This is all a trick to get you to basically become comfortable around them or with them. And when that happens, or after that happens, then they can, come forth step by step with their agenda. And their agenda is gonna definitely show into these areas. They're gonna be they're gonna be basically dismissive of you, skeptic of you, or skepticism. They're gonna show that towards you. And the hyper intensity they can have hyper positive emotions or hyper negative emotions, and they can be basically pessimistic and highly critical about you. These are negative energies that can show up, and you really need to pay attention to them, because again, these things cause you stress and anxiety, negative thoughts, and unresolved trauma, which can create intense, overwhelming, and external negativity within you. So moving on to this, because I wanted to speak about the metaphysics.
Metaphysics.
Because for some of us, we might think it's just numbers and all of that. It's not like that.
Is a branch of philosophy that explores fundamental questions about the nature of reality, existence, causation, and the underlying principles that govern the universe. It delves into inquiries about the fundamental nature of being, the relationship between mind and matter, the nature of time, causation, and the structure of reality. Metaphysics seeks to understand the most basic aspects of existence and the fundamental principles that underlie all phenomena. Learning about metaphysics can help us in everyday life by fostering a deeper understanding of our existence, encouraging critical thinking, and providing insights into fundamental aspects of reality that shape our perceptions and choices.
Yes. Um, this is what I mean. Metaphysics. So basically, it's going deeper than the physicality, going deeper than what we actually know, to basically fine tune our path in this world. Remember, again, the reason why this is important is because we all have a finite amount of time on this globe. And the best thing to do is to figure out who's with you, if that's something that, if that's something that exists, who's truly with you for you, or for common interest, because a lot of the time we expect people to be with us or to be our friend, to be in a relationship with us for us. But sometimes it could mean for maybe they are there for common interests. Common interests mean, for example, if you play a video game, if you play basketball, for example, common interests mean we have this interest in common. So now what we have to always pay attention to is that not to misunderstand common interests with other interests. Because again, just because I might appreciate and enjoy playing basketball with some of my friends doesn't mean I would appreciate or enjoy going out with them. That's something different. So, you have to try to keep things compartmentalized, because when you do that, then you have more oversight or control over each compartments, and they don't overlap. You know exactly when you go to play or do whatever this activity that you do with this type of people. You know exactly what to expect and what to look out for, and all of that is settled in your mind. Then you can focus on other things that are more complex, other things that will require most of your energy. So a lot of the time, when it comes to, I give the example of basketball, it could be mean even work. It could mean that you have something at work, you have something in common interest, whether to make some more money, whether to create a new product, new service, whatever that might be, this common interest. A lot of the time, some people try to push that interest outside of work. So let's go for a drink outside of working time. Some people sometimes, they become a different person, because again, that's completely normal, because you would think that people would stay the same in every situation, but different situation bring out a different type of characteristic, or a different type of characteristic out of us. So that characteristic might not be something that you actually want, or something that actually that you appreciate. So this is the reason why it's always best to keep things compartmentalized. And let me see, another thing I want to focus on is projection, another invisible energy that people can use on us without even knowing. Somebody can be, for example, feeling guilty. They have, basically, first thing you got to understand, the projection part start with the other person, their internal struggle that they are going through. These internal struggles could be guilt, fear, anger, disappointment. They can be disappointed of not being where they want to be in life, or that you're not doing whatever that they expect you. Remember, self-interest of the other person or everyone is driven by their own self-interest. So it could mean they was expecting to perform an activity, or that you join a certain activity with them, but for some reason you're not doing it. You decide to do other things with your life, and then it could be something very subtle like this, and then it changed the person into becoming an evil eye. I don't know if you guys heard of the evil eye, but it's something, or for me, I like to call it the green eye monster. So typically it means someone who become envious on you, or jealous, or just spiteful. And a lot of the time you have to, really pay attention to these things, because as you are a child, we don't have to really focus on this thing as much, because you're dealing with child psychology, because you're dealing with the child psychology is more about play, fun, on all of these things. But the moment you grow up, you have to be somewhat psychological and depth or enlightened to know how to maneuver yourself around the world. So when it comes to people feeling disappointed or dissatisfied, because a lot of the time there are people who are entitled to your energy or to your time. They feel that you should be a person who play into their world, into their makeup, or into their story. And the moment that you refuse to play into their story, then you become the bad guy. Then you become the evil one. Then you become, whichever label that they want to put on you to make you feel guilty, to make you feel bad, basically to bring you down. You have to really watch out for that, because again, everyone's just like people are in self-interest inclined. They are looking for their self-interest. At the same time, people are responsible for their own lives. The worst thing you can do is try to put all the responsibility of someone else's life on you. It's not gonna go right for you, because again, if thing goes right, good, you did a good job. But if thing goes wrong, also you did it. Also you will get the blame for it, because again, when things do go wrong, again, at the very beginning I said negativity is have a stronger pull than positivity sometimes. And the fact of the matter is, when things go wrong or negative, and this person who expect you to be maybe not their savior, but to play in their story, things doesn't go right, that's when they're gonna compound on that. Because again, that's the main thing that they can really focus on, because the positive part, they're just gonna give you a thumbs up. They might celebrate you, but that's gonna be short-lived. When it comes to the negative part, it's gonna be long-lived. Expect that to happen, because if you're gonna put yourself in a position when you're gonna be, people are gonna feel that they're entitled, that you are playing in their story, then highly they're gonna project you. A lot of the time, people who are not mentally mature to actually understand that when something goes wrong, you gotta first look at yourself, because that means you made a mistake, or that means there's something that there's a blind side on you or in you that you haven't paid attention to. And all of us, we all have, let's say for example, I'm looking at this camera, we all have a lot of different areas that we are blind at, So a lot of the time, we might try to put this blind side, or these moments that these empty spaces that we think they are empty, but it's just that we haven't actually discovered them or uncovered them. When these things happen, that's why it's important for you to go inside yourself, to activate, to ask yourself, okay, why did this happen? That's how you can actually, from a blind side, to open up your consciousness, or your awareness rather. And again, they might say some people do it unconsciously, while subconsciously contribute to external factors. Like when it comes to the projection, they can do it unconsciously. But a lot of the time, you gotta ask yourself, are people, if they say they are doing things unconsciously, can it be said a lot of these people are actually living life unconscious, meaning that they are living life on automatic? And if they are living life on automatic like this, how can you actually trust that they will be doing the right things, or most importantly, do the right things by you? Let's say if you were a friend, because Richard was saying that it was this one dude who was basically didn't treat him right, and it was so hard on him that he had to mention it. And this is one of the reasons why I'm actually doing this stream, for him, to help him understand that people will do, whether consciously or unconsciously, whichever case, doesn't really matter. The root of it don't really matter, because you might try to understand the root why people do such a thing. I mean, if you're gonna do that, then go to be a psychologist, or ideally, you don't have much time. We don't have much time to always be considering why people do such thing, because not only that, you're gonna move from one person to try to understand what's their reason for doing such thing, some terrible thing to you, but you're gonna move to another one because I do understand that you have to take time to actually process it, because through doing that, it helps you to see your your blind side. It helps you to also reinforce yourself for the future occurrence. But a lot of the time, we cannot make excuses for people. That's one of the things we gotta know. All right, so I'm gonna break away with this.
So I get
Okay, so now the other part I wanted to talk about is psychic attack, because most of us believe that maybe I think I'm gonna do this before, because most of us believe we are living in a three dimension, or most of people say spirituality. But what is the dimension of the spirituality? How many dimensions are actually exist? So we're gonna take a look at this one.
There are at least 11 dimensions stacked right on top of each other to create this entire universe. From any dimension higher than the third, you can see the past, present, and future all at once.
That's crazy.
For example, we're in the third dimension. If you draw a line, you're witnessing that single dimension. If you connect those lines and draw a house, you can see into every room of that house from the third dimension. From a higher dimension, it would be like someone looking at you in your house at different times of your life. So every time you step up a dimension, it gives you a more broader understanding or view of what's really going on in all the realms in itself and also beneath it.
All right, sub up, like up. So which means there's a lot of things that we don't understand that are actually happening, that we don't know why they are happening, but yet still the one thing we can do is to make sure what can help us to stay stable, what can help us to maintain our clarity, to maintain our saneness, is to always have a goal. Because when you have a goal, you have a direction, you have an end point that you actually are going after. And when you have a goal, a lot of the things, you realize what matters and what doesn't matter. And this is it. Because again, just like I was talking about projection, how people project their insecurities, in a broader term, insecurities, their guilt, their fear, their anger, their most importantly, their dissatisfaction or disappointments on you. A lot of the time, it might not be that you are the one who's actually initiating that. It could mean that these people, they don't know how to express themselves in that way. They don't know how to express disappointment. So they push that on you, and then that makes them feel, okay, this is the end. If I cannot actually understand it with it myself, then my other thing to do is to attack somebody with it, is to push it to somebody else. And if you're a type of person who's gonna listen, or who's gonna be the back end of receiving these projection, you're gonna feel drained. It's gonna take you off your path into your goal. So the best thing you gotta do, if you can mention it once or twice to these people and they continuously doing it, this person is not doing the work on themselves. So if they are not taking themselves so serious to do the work on themselves, what makes you think that they're gonna take you serious? So a lot of the time you gotta separate yourself from that, because again, Richard, you also mentioned this in past stream, separation. You gotta separate yourself from these people, because you're not a psychologist, if you're not a therapist, if you're not a mental health specialist, you can't help these people. You understand? Sometimes you have to accept that you are limited, you have limitations, and it's not your job. It's not, a lot of the time we think it's our job to fix people or to help people feel better. A lot of the time these people don't want to feel better, because there's a thing that says that some people prefer to be sick or to not be 100% themselves, to be to be basically emotionally unbalanced or unregulated, because that gives them attention, because they are not, again, the attention is negativity. Again, keep your mind into, try to hold on to the negatives, have a stronger negativity, have a stronger pole than positivity. Positivity means a lot of the time it's resolve. Negativity means there's an issue, there's a problem, so we're trying to, tinker with it. So when somebody is negative all the time, you have to really ask yourself, and you're trying to make them feel good or trying to make them feel better, you got to ask yourself, how many times have you tried to make this person feel better or see another way? And ask yourself, does this person really want to feel better, to have a solution to it? Because again, sometimes people just want to push or have somebody that they can share, that they can bathe in this negativity with. And you got to be the one to, if that's something that you like, if you like the drama, if you like the negativity, then perhaps that's your thing. But again, one thing is for sure, it can leave you feeling drained, demotivated, uninspired. A lot of different feelings of heaviness that you might not know or be conscious that is actually happening to you. And again, that takes you off your path and it wastes your life. So this is the reason why you gotta, really pay attention to these things. And the reason why we saw this video about the 11th dimension is that a lot of the time people believe that, okay, spirituality, because I'm gonna talk about the next bit we're gonna talk about is, I believe, this one, psychic attack. Because a lot of people believe that, okay, there's no more dimensions outside of the dimensions that we can see. But some things science can prove, other things science can't. But one thing that science has been able to prove is that there are more than 4 dimensions. There are more than 11 dimensions. Or they keep finding out, so far they have identified 11, but they keep finding out more dimensions. So it is to say that if more dimensions actually exist than we are aware of, that we can see or feel, or maybe we can feel them, or maybe not see them, or we can feel them, maybe not touch them. So, okay then. So how is it that some people wouldn't believe us on psychic attack? Psychic attack is something, that actually you gotta also think about. Maybe something that is possible,
I
right?
asked a lot, what is psychic attack? Psychic attack is when someone sends you a lot of negative energy, and it can come in a lot of different forms. It can come from just them thinking negative thoughts against you. A lot of times it appears as you fighting with them in your head.
Yeah.
That's a
Fighting with them in your head. Who haven't done that? How many times have you had an issue or a situation? How many times have you had an issue or a situation that you dealt with your friend, and you constantly keep going on and on in your mind about this topic? You keep going on, revisiting it. It's like playing in your head like a series with different episodes. How many times? So this is something that is done to take you off your balance, to steal your time away from you.
Form of etheric communication. It can be people gossiping about you. Basically, it's people hating on you.
Yep.
What a lot of crystals talk about when they say that they help prevent against psychic attack or possession or something like that is that energy from entering into you. And it can get into your head, but they can put cords and tendrils and stuff into different areas of your body. They go into an area that you have a weak spot. If you're unsure and you feel just uncomfortable and you are concerned that someone is having malintent against you, there's probably a chance that you're intuitively reading that.
Yep. Because again, a lot of the time we are taught not to trust in the physical world. Again, there are so many dimensions, but we are always being taught to only look at the 3 dimensions or the 4 dimensions, the physical world. A lot of the time you have a feeling, you have an intuition, or you have this feeling or this energy that you catch from another person that okay, this person doesn't mean me anything positive. This person might although be nice with me, smiling in my face, when we are around other people, she or he seems like they are being nice to me. But behind your back, they're talking negative about you. Behind your back, they are, basically doing everything that they can to break you down. And a lot of the time, you can see it in these people. And one thing you got to learn is to trust what your guts are saying. Trust what your mind is telling you, or your energy is telling you. Because a lot of the time, we are the one to, we will see the things, we will see the truth, but then we will ignore it. We'll try to tell ourselves our own stories, to excuse the person, to look for, to try to understand the person's humanity. But sometimes that's a waste of your time as well, because a lot of the time the person have made up their mind that they're gonna be hateful towards you, and that they're gonna be caught doing things to sabotage you. A lot of the time they made up their mind. There's nothing you can do or say that can have them change it. So the choice is yours, whether you're gonna waste your time to do that. But when it comes to psychic,
some degree, and I'll do a video later.
Okay, we're gonna watch that again.
So I get asked a lot,
Psychic
what
attack.
is psychic attack? Psychic attack.
Because a lot of the time we think it's maybe the dolls, what they use. And some of the dolls, I don't know if you've seen picture of videos or movies with the dolls that a doll of a person, then you use some needles to prickle the person, basically to send energy towards them. But again, psychic attack can be in this form.
Attack is when someone sends you a lot of negative energy, and it can come in a lot of different forms.
Yes, it can come from a lot of different forms. It can come from from another person. It can come from what you wouldn't expect. You always gotta be mindful. You gotta be mindful of who's around you. And again, someone might be nice to you or good to you right now, doesn't mean that they're gonna be always that way towards you.
It can come from just them thinking negative thoughts against you. A lot of times it appears as you fighting with them in your head. That's a form of etheric communication. It can be people gossiping about you. Basically, it's people hating on you. What a lot of crystals talk about when they say that they help prevent against psychic attack or possession or something like that is that energy from entering into you. And it can get into your head, but they can put cords and tendrils and stuff into different areas of your body. They go into an area that you have a weak spot. If you're unsure and you feel just uncomfortable and you are concerned that someone is having malintent against you, there's probably a chance that you're intuitively reading that to some degree. And I'll do.
All right. Okay. And let's see.
There are forces at play.
All right. So now, talking about psychic attack, so we know a lot of it can be forces. It can be just people gossiping behind you, or trying to ruin the relationship that you have with somebody else behind you, or spreading lies, rumors about you. All of that is done to basically cause you pain. Because sometimes some people can say, well, it's just, they're trying to minimize it. But all of it, the main reason is to cause you pain.
Play beyond the physical, a silent, invisible war being waged for your mind, your energy, your very soul. Psychic attacks are real, and they are older than written history. They do not need words, they do not need weapons. They operate through whispers, vibrations, frequencies, and thought manipulation. These attacks do not leave bruises, they do not spill blood. They drain you, they weaken you, they bend your will until you are no longer yourself. And if you do not fight back, you will be consumed. The hidden forces behind psychic attacks, energy vampires, the walking dead, and human form.
We're going to talk about energy vampires a bit.
Not all humans are human inside, some are hollow.
Yep.
Empty, a void disguised as flesh. They do not create, they consume. They do not love, they feed. They do not give, they drain. These soulless ones attach themselves to the living, thriving off chaos, fear.
This is why when you're a good person, you have to really watch out who you let around you, especially when you're a positive, optimistic person. You have to really be mindful who you let around you. This is one way that you can protect yourself from that, because people, they are also attractive to that. Because if you have someone who's negative or pessimistic, and a lot of the time they'll be attached to someone who's outgoing, positive, optimistic, because they try to say it's a balance. But the fact of the matter is, it's more detrimental to you if you are a positive, optimistic person, because all the time, the negative person is gonna constantly feed you negative, and all the time you have to try to combat the negativity. That's gonna be draining on your own energy. So this is the reason why you always want to make sure that, although you might seem like you're trying to do a good thing, but you're doing yourself a disservice.
And suffering. You will know them by how you feel around them.
Yeah.
Drained, sick, emotionally unstable, doubt creeps in,
Yeah.
fear builds, you second guess yourself. You feel like you are suffocating even though they have not laid a hand on you. They don't need spells, they don't need rituals. Their very presence is poison.
A lot of the time, these people, they feed on your fear, and they feed on your anger or your sadness, because when they are basically not just emotional vampires, but they are psychically trying to control you, a lot of the time this is what they are doing. They are pessimistic, negative, and they're trying to feed into your fears. They're trying to uncover that. And a lot of the time they're trying to uncover it so they can use it against you. But one thing is for sure is that when you have your fears, when you have your angers, you have to accept them. You have to accept them. You have to be able to, process them. Because if you're not able to process them, then they're gonna always be also have a certain hold on you, a certain control over you.
Ancient bloodlines, secret societies, the ones who pull the strings behind nations, many of them understand the power of energy manipulation. They use it to weaken opposition. If they cannot get you physically, they break you from within.
Yeah.
There are things older than humans.
They break you from within. That could also mean from a friend that they know that you have. It could mean from so many things, because a lot of the time, the most dangerous person is the person next to you. A lot of the time, you gotta be careful with that.
Humanity, beings that have never been human but exist in the spaces between dimensions. Some call them jinn, archons, demons, or watchers, but the name does not matter.
Yeah.
They live off pain, suffering, despair. They do not kill directly, they push you to destroy yourself. They do not appear as monsters. They whisper, they manipulate, they possess. They do not announce their presence. They move in the silence of doubt, fear, and exhaustion.
Yeah, that's the thing. They always move in the negative realm. That's why you can easily, sometimes it's easy to see them or to recognize them because they are always moving in the negative form. But sometimes they can present themselves in the positive form, and then the negative form is coming after, or they can have a mixture. That's why you gotta always be mindful. Again, when you have a goal and you're striving for the goal, you can tell a lot of the time that can help you to have a North Star, or to have a direct line from where you are to where you want to be. And when you can tell that, okay, there's some turbulence, then that's when you can also know that.
Some say they enter through trauma, through addiction, through prolonged despair.
Yeah.
The weaker your mind, the easier the possession. Signs you are under psychic attack. Deep, unshakable fatigue. No amount of sleep revives you. You wake up exhausted, as if something is feeding on you in the night. Sudden, unexplained thoughts of fear or suicide. Voices that are not yours. Thoughts that push you toward darkness. Dreams of shadows or entities watching you. Things in your sleep draining your energy. Waking up feeling attacked, violated. A shift in the people around you. Friends turn against you for no reason. Relationships crumble. You are isolated. Repeating numbers or symbols. The same numbers, names, or images appear constantly, as if something is marking you. A heavy weight on your chest or shoulders. Feeling like something is pressing down on you, holding you back. If multiple of these happen at once, you are under attack. How to fight back. Protecting your soul from energy warfare. Seal your mind. Thought is the first battlefield.
Yeah. Thought is the first.
They get in through your thoughts. They break you down from within. Control your inner dialogue. Every time a negative thought comes, say its opposite aloud. Reject the attack verbally. This is not my thought. This is not my fear. I reject it.
Yeah. Again, you have to know yourself. This is how you also get to know yourself, because when you know yourself, then you know what filter what you are more inclined to do, what sort of thought patterns that you yourself know that you are inclined to. A lot of times when you notice that, okay, you have doubts of fear of whatever reason that is, then you can check yourself. Think, okay, normally I'm not fearful of that. Why is it right? Where is this fear coming from? So when it's not coming from you, it's something that you basically have to fight mentally with your internal dialogue, basically.
Psalm 91, recite this scripture. It is one of the most powerful protections against dark forces. Cut energy cords, sever the draining ties. If someone is feeding off you, cut them off immediately.
Yep.
Visualize a burning sword cutting all ties to negative people or forces.
Yeah.
Salt baths cleanse psychic residue. Burn sage, frankincense, or Palo Santo to clear out energetic parasites. Shield yourself daily. Your aura is your armor. Strengthen it every day. Golden light shielding. Visualize a dome of gold light around you, impenetrable to dark forces. Wear silver or iron. These metals have historically blocked psychic and supernatural attacks. Carry black tourmaline or obsidian, absorbs negativity directed toward you. Send the energy back. If someone is deliberately attacking you, return their energy. Light a black candle and say, "What was sent to me, return to thee, magnified 3 times."
I know some people might not, this is not for everybody, of course, because there are people who, all of these things, you can simply, if you are a believer, if in your God, your religion, then you can also, pray for protection. But some people who not believe or basically are inclined to these methods of protection, then this is also for you. You can know exactly what you can do, because some of them, they say, can be said to be ineffective. But again, and some people might believe the only way. I'm not saying everybody is entitled to have their own beliefs and their own deity. So it's really up to you which method that you want to use to protect yourself. But the fact of the matter is, just because you always got to protect yourself, you always got to shield yourself from people, because they can be basically attacking you without you knowing it, and doesn't mean that you do something. The worst part is that a lot of the time you might think that you did something bad to them. It might not be that case. It might just be that they are trying to feel you, or trying to get your attention, for example.
3. Mirror defense. Imagine a mirror reflecting the attack back onto the sender. Call upon divine protection. Invoke the name of Jesus Christ. Darkness cannot withstand his name. Archangel Michael, the warrior of heaven, protector of souls. Sacred symbols: cross, eye of Horus, Hamza, pentacle, ancient sigils used to block malevolent forces. The full moon is not just a celestial event, it is a power amplifier, a time when energy shifts, veils thin, and the war between light and darkness intensifies. Every ancient civilization knew this. Every occult group uses it. This is why you feel restless, why your dreams are more vivid, why emotions run high, and why psychic attacks increase in power during this time. The full moon is a magnifier. It illuminates and amplifies everything. If you are strong, it strengthens you. If you are vulnerable, it exposes you. Those who understand energy use this time to send attacks, cast spells, open portals, and manipulate reality itself. If you do not prepare, you will be wide open to whatever seeks to harm you. The full moon thins the veil. Across every culture, the full moon is believed to weaken the barrier between dimensions. Spirits, entities, and non-human forces become more active.
Yep. And also, it's not just about psychic attack, but it's also about environmental energies, because there are places that you go to, there's different energies. And as you can imagine, let's say, for example, in areas where a lot of, people have been taken off this planet and the worst situation have happened. These areas can carry a heavy energy from past event. And think about, for example, haunted houses. A lot of the time, some people try to, play with these things, but sometimes you don't really need to put yourself in that situation, because you don't even, I understand a lot of the time some people want to mess around and find out, but some things you don't really have to find out. Some things you just don't really, you don't really need to do it, because sometimes there's no reward, or there's nothing you can actually, gain from that. But also, on the other hand, there's also a saying that if you don't believe these things actually exist, a lot of the time they are not gonna be after you, or if you're not gonna be an open portal to carry on negative energy. But again, if you want to play with it, then go ahead, be my guest.
Demonic influence and possession cases increase. Dreams become more intense, sometimes visions, sometimes psychic attacks disguised as nightmares. If you suddenly start seeing shadows, if you feel a presence in your home, if you wake up exhausted or paralyzed during a full moon, you may be under attack. Why are psychic attacks more powerful during the full moon? The moon controls the mind? The word lunatic comes from luna, the Latin word for moon. Hospitals, emergency rooms, and police report higher crime, violence, and psychological disturbances during full moons. Why? The moon controls the tides. The human body is 70% water. Your emotions, your mind, your energy, all are affected. Your subconscious is pulled to the surface. Dark thoughts, suppressed trauma, hidden fears all become harder to ignore. Those who feed off fear and chaos are most active. They strike when your defenses are lowered. Full moon shielding ritual. This will block out attacks and seal your aura from energy drain. Find a quiet place and stand under the moonlight. Visualize a sphere of white or golden light surrounding you. Say, I am sovereign, I am untouchable, no darkness shall pass. Seal it by taking a deep breath and feeling the shield harden. This must be done with confidence. Fear weakens your defense. Return the energy to its source. If someone has directed negative energy towards you, send it back. Write the name of the person or entity, if known, on a piece of paper. Burn it in a flame while saying, return to sender, the debt is paid. Do not engage in hatred, simply return what was sent. Call upon divine protection. Jesus Christ's name, demonic entities and dark forces cannot withstand his name. Psalm 91. Recite this out loud before bed. Archangel Michael, call upon him to sever energy ties and shield you from attacks. Do not engage in low vibrational activities. During the full moon, your energy is an open gateway. What you do, think, and feel is amplified. Do not engage in gossip, hatred, or fear-based thoughts. Stay off social media if it triggers negativity. What you focus on during a full moon is what manifests. Final warning, the war is real, but so is your power.
Facts. The war is real and so is your power. Because a lot of the time we think we have no power, and to this, things are just happening to us without us, being in control of it. But again, it is real and we have power. Just like, people can attack you for whatever reason that they have at that time. You have the power to protect yourself or to shield yourself from, such attacks. And you have a lot of cultural concept, basically. Evil Eye, I already talked about that. Probably you guys have seen it. Evil Eye. Let me take a look at this right here. This is how it looks like. It's more. Let me put it. Is a common in Islam, evil eye or al-ayah is a common belief that individuals have the power to cause harm to people, animal objects by looking at them in a way that indicates jealousy. For me, I call this the green-eyed monster, when people try to look at you with jealousy. And we do know jealousy is a cancer. It's an acid that basically, and jealousy and envy, I would say, because they can cause people to do the worst thing to you because for something that you have or something that you are or whatever. Your energy can annoy people for some reason. But again, that's just people who just looking for, who are being driven by a negative entity. And we're going to look at also karma and energy, energetic exchange. Karma is real because one thing is for sure, that what we put out there, the energy that we put out there is gonna come back to us, or it's gonna come back to you, to you. So a lot of the time, people might think, okay, they are just doing things and they don't believe in karma because they believe in God and all of that, But the fact of the matter is, karma is an equalizer. Basically it's an equalizer. It's making the circle connect. So a lot of the time people think, okay, they can do you the worst and then think, okay, it's they got over on you. A lot of the time it's gonna come back to you. It's gonna come back to them. So that's why you gotta try to always keep your conscience clean, or keep your activities, clean, for example, or to the best that you can carry yourself proper. And you see,
Is
this was, again, I want to speak about energy vampirism. Energy vampire, these are the type of people we always have to look out for.
there someone in your life who makes you feel emotionally exhausted just by being around them, or leaves you feeling upset, anxious, or stressed out whenever you spend time with them? If there is, then you should watch out. That person might be an energy vampire. Energy vampires aren't at all like those people you dislike or disagree with. It's not a matter of you simply finding it hard to get along with them. In fact, most energy vampires tend to be close friends or family members.
Yep.
Always
Yep. Close friend, family members, people that you're in a relationship with, you know, because again, you might think that a lot of these things are from outsiders. A lot of it is just people, you know, in your circle. So you got to watch out for.
exploiting you and zapping away your energy without you knowing it. They're stubborn, manipulative, entitled, and self-absorbed. They're people who want to have you at their beck and call. They call or use you as a psychological punching bag to feel good about themselves. Does this sound unsettlingly familiar to you? If you want to find out whether you're in a situation like this, here are 6 signs you're dealing with an energy vampire. 1. They like to play victim. Energy vampires usually don't take responsibility for their mistakes.
Yeah.
They can't hold themselves accountable for the part they play when things go bad.
Because if they do that, then they will, you know, if they take a responsibility, that means that's the end. They have to do the work, but they want to put that on you. You know, it's either they don't want to face the reality or they want to put you through hardship. And you can imagine whichever situation, whichever reason that they choose or the reason that they're doing this, you know, it still cause, you know, emotional distress.
And instead, blame everyone else for what happens to them. They are manipulative. For example, they may constantly guilt trip you into feeling sorry for them, doing favors for them, and staying by their side. Based on a study by Lobel and Tabor, people who behave like this often struggle with extremely low self-esteem and seek constant validation from others as a coping mechanism. Thus, they come off as needy, clingy, and sometimes even codependent on those around them. 2. They're narcissistic. Energy vampires are known to be highly self-absorbed. Have you ever found yourself dealing with someone who constantly only ever wanted to talk about themselves and never listened to anything you had to say? Well, people like this are often charismatic and smooth-talking, which makes it harder to stay away from them. Oftentimes, they have little to no capacity for empathy and will usually only pretend to care about you when it benefits them. They might expect you to always put them first and be upset with you when you don't give in to their demands for attention or praise. Do you know someone like this in your life?
Yeah, we all know.
Perhaps you might relate to being a narcissist, but feel no shame. Self-awareness is key.
Self-awareness is key. But the fact of the matter is, self-awareness is key, meaning that you might think that you can fix these people, or you might point out to them that they are being like this. And again, if they are narcissists, what do you think? The first thing first, the first rule is that they're not going to accept responsibility. So if they're not going to accept responsibility of whatever action that they are doing towards you that you find that is ill will, so it's basically a losing game if you're going to try to point it out to them and the hope for them to change. It's not going to happen.
If you enjoy our content so far, don't forget to subscribe for more psychology and mental health content.
Yes, sub up.
3. They want to dominate you.
Yeah.
Do you know someone who's loudmouthed and loves to feel superior over others? Chances are, individuals like this are actually deeply insecure about themselves.
Yep.
They're afraid of appearing weak or foolish.
Yep.
And so, they overcompensate by intimidating others and exerting their dominance over those around them. They put you down in order to feel good about themselves. They also feel insecure about your success or achievements because they fear being outdone.
Yeah. And this is the reason why these people are basically are very much toxic to be around, to have them around you, because you would expect that somebody is around you, somebody is a friend or and that you're intimate relationship with, or family member, that you would expect them, okay, that if you're winning, that they should be happy for you. But a lot of the time, these people, they don't want you to be above them, so-called, or they don't want you to be happy, or reaching their goal, or living, most importantly, leaving them where they are. So basically, you always have to be the one. They have to be the center of attention. So people like that is, again, they see you as a character and their own stories. So which means they have to be the one to get all the attention, all the praise, all the accolade, and everything else. And while for you, you're just there to serve. This is not a life, that you should be living.
A study by Nagy and Davis suggests that highly competitive and likely type A personalities have a neurotic need to beat others. 4. They create unnecessary drama.
Yes.
Chaos can be exhilarating for an energy vampire. As long as they're at the center of attention, they tend to have an exaggerated sense of self-importance, and they enjoy playing the sympathy card on others.
Yep.
This is why they thrive in crisis and love to create problems, either for themselves or others, making mountains out of molehills.
Yep.
They gossip and make trouble wherever they go in order to distract themselves from the emptiness they feel.
Facts.
They go to great lengths just to feel intense emotions, even when they're negative. 5.
And one thing that you're gonna realize also over time is that these people, a lot of them, they are not worth the squeeze. Yeah, I mean, they are not really worth it, because when you trying to balance the odds or trying to balance the scale of, okay, what is it that these people, let's say you're in a relationship with these people, it can be family, friends, whoever. You're trying to find, okay, are you getting the things that you actually want from this person? Because at the end of the day, if they're being like this, they're getting everything that they want from you, which is, being the center of attention, all of these things I've mentioned before. So it's happened to be that the relationship that majority of the time that you will have these people, which is unbalanced, which is not to your favor, it's not gonna go well, and it's not gonna end well. So that's why the moment that you should notice it is to, say deuces and go about your way.
Constantly criticize you. If someone constantly criticizes you and makes you feel bad about yourself, they might be toxic to your mental health. They prey on your insecurities.
That's a threat. That's a threat right there when someone being constantly criticizing you like that. I mean, you might think that, okay, they are being helpful. All of the time they might try to frame it or package it as being helpful, but this is constantly a threat to your well-being, or through your activities that you are actually having to do with them.
And emotionally manipulate you. While it seems obvious enough, sometimes it can be difficult to recognize this behavior in others, especially if there's someone close to you. People like this often seem friendly on the outside, but deep down, they might already be harboring malicious intentions towards you. And 6, they exploit your kindness. Based on a study by Grosch and others, in 2015, compassionate and caring people are prime targets for their abuse.
This is exactly what I was saying. If you're a good person, if you are a good heart, if you're a positive person, you better be ready. Because I think just be ready. Because one thing is for sure, your life is gonna be twice as challenged. Because again, there are more people who are negative, there are more people who are like this, and the energy vampire who will be searching and trying to feed off of your energy. So you gotta really be twice as careful if you're a positive, outgoing, optimistic person, because again, these people are always trying to target you, because again, they know you're gonna try to fight fair in a situation that is unfair.
If ever you've come into contact with an energy vampire and shown them any sympathy or understanding, they're likely to use your good nature against you. For example, they take advantage of you by coercing you into doing things you don't want to do. These people will demand a lot more than you can give. Establishing healthy boundaries with others is incredibly important. If someone is weighing you down and taking a toll...
And healthy boundaries doesn't mean that you tell somebody. A lot of the time, some people think that healthy boundaries is like keep repeating your boundaries. Sometimes healthy boundaries is basically saying goodbye to this person for good, because this is a boundary that you gotta have. A lot of the time, it's not just about saying no, but it's about leaving these people to their own devices. You understand? So it's not, you cannot, how many times are you gonna be repeating yourself in different areas or different ways or different methods to try to make it clear to these people? There is no hope. Sometimes you gotta, you just gotta know that maybe this person is not for you.
on your emotional well being, this person isn't worth keeping in your life. Too much company with an emotional vampire can be detrimental to your mental health. So recognize the signs and know your limitations. Do you know anyone who fits the description of an energy vampire?
I'm sure we all do.
And how did you deal with them? Let us
All right. How did you deal with them? How did you deal with someone who's been an emotional vampire to you? I mean, how? But one thing is for sure is to get away from them. That's one sure way to actually, put an end to it. So we're gonna take a look at what it looks like to be an energy vampire at the workspace, because again, they are
My name
everywhere.
is Colin Robinson, and I am what's known as a psychic vampire or energy vampire. This is my office, also known as the hunting ground. Hi, Deb. Energy vampire.
So again, Deb is just there doing her work, focusing, and then this guy, he probably come with good intentions. Is there something that you want? Do you want some water? Is there something I can help you with? Blah blah blah.
Vampires drain people's energy merely by talking to them.
Actual versus budget year to date? No thanks. You're going to be at that all day.
You hear what he said? No thanks. You're gonna be at that all day. Like, what's the point of this comment, really?
Either bore you with a long conversation
Feeling better now. I was a little sick this weekend. Hey, Don.
or we enrage you. In fact, you probably know an energy vampire. We're the most common kind of vampire. We are day walkers, not affected by the sun. And we are the only kind of vampire that can drain another vampire's energy. It's very cool.
Yeah. Well, again, I wish them good luck. It's better, it's better that energy vampires go towards each other, trying to out energy vampire each other. But the fact of the matter is they are hardly likely would do that, because they're highly unlikely, because what's the fun of it? Because again, when they know each other, when they can recognize each other, they know, okay, it's no fun. There's nothing to gain from them. But the thing is, the question you gotta ask: how to protect yourself from these sort of negativity or energy vampire, all these things that we have talked about. How do you protect yourself? Because one thing for sure, and one of the videos, the lady was talking about different things you can do. For example, grounding practice, which is basically spending time with nature, because it helps to relieve this tension, the stress that you have. Walking barefooted if you can, and your gardening as well. Meditate or visualize roots connecting you to the earth. That's like a visualization meditation that can also be helpful to you, to help you to reconnect to your inner core, to reconnect to yourself, or connect stronger, amplify the connection rather. Energy shielding methods, which is visualize a protective barrier around you. That could help, so having a protective barrier. Some people might use crystal, black tourmaline or tourmaline. Obsidian, we already saw earlier a video, the lady discussed this. Or talismans for symbolic protection. Over the years, there's always been some form of symbolic protection that people have been using. Also, one thing that you got to do is to have your room or your place, your house, whichever, clean your space. Some people burn sage or Palo Santo or incense to clear stagnant energy. A lot of the time, the energy can be dormant in one area, and to keep the energy movement, if that's what you are into. Some people, again, the first thing you can do is just basically pray to your God for protection, right? For cleansing. And that works. But there are, again, it's not everybody are have a God or believe in God. So trying to hit all gears or every different type of people. Declutter physical space to reduce mental chaos. Again, it's always better to have a decluttered space, because a lot of the time you can tell how a person is mentally by their space, basically how cluttered or decluttered or the status of their space is, basically. And some people thrive. Do they say thrive in the chaos? Yeah, but again, that could be a sign of how their lives are. And mindfulness and emotional regulation. This is very, very helpful. Emotional regulation. Practice breath work, or journalism, or journaling. I don't know why I said journalism. Journaling to process emotion instead of processing them, suppressing them. You don't want to be suppressing your emotion. You want to be able to process them again, because if you unprocess them, it's like you understand what it means suppress them, meaning that in the future you can encounter the same issue or the same struggle or the same challenge, and then you didn't process it, you didn't create a different tactic to overcome it, or to to deal with it. So this is the reason why you don't want to be suppressing your emotions. You want to rather try to process them, because a lot of the time some people use you as a processing method. Is it effective? I don't know. Maybe it might be effective for them, but the best way to actually do these things is to do it one by one, meaning yourself and yourself. So identify triggers, because people that identify triggers and people that drains your energy, and set boundaries, because some people again might look for triggers or other things that can actually push buttons to find out what triggers you. And that can also be environmental. It could mean maybe when you look outside it looks dark and there's no sun. That could also be a trigger for you. You have to be mindful about that. Also tell yourself, hey, okay, I understand that today is not a bright day, there's no sun. Yeah, it's one of those days, right? You have to try to always be emotionally regulated, reassuring yourself or retelling yourself a story. That helps. Positive affirmation, repeat mantras like I'm safe, or I release what does not serve me. That's another mantra you can have. Energy hygiene, limit exposure to toxic people, as you already know. Toxic people and toxic media, salt bath or smudging ritual can symbolize washing away negativity. Yeah, and also what you can do is basically, when you're taking your shower, try to experience your entire body being being washed, and not just in the physical sense, but try to use it in a way that you are also cleansing yourself from the outside. Understand? If you don't understand, just let it be known. And the last thing, again, you want to seek therapy, because sometimes you might need to talk to a therapist, a counselor, or a spiritual guide, or your pastor or your preacher, whoever it might be, to address underlying emotional patterns. Because sometimes you can have a blind side, again, that you cannot see beyond from what's something can be in front of you, but you're not seeing it. It's almost like saying that you're colorblind, but it can mean that a different situation that that you are facing, but you cannot see what's really going on. Although a lot of these things are not scientifically proven, but at the end of the day, is science the only way of learning, or is science the only method, or maybe science haven't caught up to these things as yet? So who knows? Let me know what you think in the comment section, because while invisible energies lack empirical evidence, studies showing that emotions are contagious. So this is the reason why you always want to make sure that you know who you let around you, because again, emotions are contagious. And because that's why you gotta always guard your spirit, you gotta guard your emotion, you gotta guard your mindset. Negative people or environment can subconsciously influence your mood, whether you like it or not. It can do that, because again, we not only in one dimension, we also try to attract or try to relate with people, try to in a way to make us not so to create a bond, to make us not basically to make us fit, be part of the group, and all of these things. And definitely you guys know that chronic stress weaken mental resilience. Mental resilience is something that you definitely need to have, because again, the world changes every day, you know, and different situations, different challenges you can face, and you need to be, you know, resilient in your mindset to be able to tackle any challenge that shows whenever they show. Because that can make you more vulnerable and emotionally overwhelmed. So you don't want to get to these points, because these points is like you become basically not helpful to anyone, not even yourself. So this is why you want to basically be able to minimize your stress, handle your stress. And also a big part of handling stress is to realize there are some things that even though they are stressing you right now, they might not stress you tomorrow or even 2 weeks from now. So you have to know, okay, whether what are you stressing on, whether it's actually really worth your time, you know, whether it's actually something that is truly stressful. And because a lot of the time we stress ourselves by the stories that we tell ourselves. So that's one thing that you gotta keep in your mind all the time. I mean, you know when to seek help when you feel persistently targeted by somebody or a group of people, or you're feeling paranoid, unable to cope with your mental issues. And it's always good to have somebody that you can speak with that can be objective, basically who can step outside of themselves, if that's actually a thing. But yeah, by consulting with your mental health professional, again, for any form of anxiety, depression, all of that. And prioritize self-awareness. That's really truly what's gonna help you to be self-aware. And people who are not self-aware, you gotta be watch out, because if you are self-aware and they are not self-aware, so it's like you're in an advantageous position and they are in a disadvantageous position. So remember, I told you that in the very beginning that negativity have a stronger pull than positivity. So they can pull you down to their negative, basically unaware self of self. Boundaries is always the case, but sometimes the only way to initiate or to set your boundaries forth is to walk away. And that's one thing you gotta be open, be willing to do, because again, some people, they cannot change or they won't change. And why would they change if they are getting all the energy, all the attention, whether good or bad? You know, why would they do that? So you gotta, choose your battles rightly. And your self-care can help reclaim emotional balance. Self-care, again, that doesn't mean it's not just about, this is also a part of self-care, to be honest. Knowing the energy, the negative energy that are basically constantly trying to take us away from our path and our in our circle, and to try to basically cause us to be mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically unstable. And we don't want that. And the last thing I want to play before we leave is not this. Not this. Okay. I think it was probably, oh yeah, this one. So basically, this is a ghost that fell in love with him. And I mean, this is her ghost. Yeah. This is our ghost, Riz. This is the Riz. Yeah, but the ghost have a stinky mouth. This is Ghost Riz.
What? Toodaloo, motherfucker. Hey,
all right, let me know what you guys think in the comment section with this topic. Was it helpful or not? Let it be known in the comment section. And Richard, I hope I did this suggestion topic that you stream that you made. I hope I did it right. Sub up, you know, like up and share. And like I always say at this time, I'll see you on the next one.